After the immense success of the now closed Shadow Fight on Facebook, Neki, the Russian developer, sought to make it into a much more fleshed out game, with a better storyline, animations, weapons, bosses, and much more. It was a smash hit. It then became a cultural classic, creating a lesser known but super niche genre of fighting games, the ethereal brawlers. Now that the mainline story of Shadow Fight has ended, we finally have all the puzzle pieces to piece together the complete lore of Shadow Fight series. So, hello everyone, I am Challengeato and today we are back with another long, great and enjoyable journey. After the success I had with my Shadow Fight retrospective, I felt like I need to know the complete story. And also, you can blame MatPat for my milking of Shadow Fight series. I want to give him a tribute, so shall we begin? Let's go. Shadow Fight 1 on Facebook has a pretty simple story, like all things in the first edition of a franchise, but it is the beginning and it cannot be overlooked. It wasn't easy, my friend. Trying to find the complete story, let alone the actual one, was not easy. It's a game that is 13 years old and got discontinued 7 years ago. But still, from all the sources that I found my info from, links in description, I picked the common points and formed a complete story for this decade old game. So we start as a no background protagonist called Shadow. Pretty fitting. He always liked fighting and always attended all the MMA, MA, boxing, kickboxing tournaments to see if he could find a worthy opponent. One of these opponents was Lynx, who then lured him beyond the gates of shadows into the terrifying hells like the Tower of Doom and more. That's it. We fight him until the hit. Oh, wait a minute. This game has been discontinued? Yep, my friends. Y'all can't even check out this game. This game has been discontinued to beef up the servers for Shadow Fight 2 and 3. We all have been host. Shadow Fight 2 is a seamless transition story from Shadow Fight 1. Almost too seamless. It wasn't hard to find the story. One intro video and one game completion later, you are a warrior who has never lost a fight. So you are like, man, I'm gonna need some challenge. So you go on a world tour to find great fighters in the hope of finding a worthy opponent. Then you stumble upon the gates of shadows. Being the stupid protagonist that you are, you open those gates. And what do you find? Demons from the other world. They are rushed upon you, tearing your flesh, draining your soul, turning you to a shadow. Now you need to fight these demons to close those gates again. The first demon is an assassin from the Order who called himself Lynx. You fight his bodyguards and eventually fight Lynx himself. Now, one of his bodyguards is called Needle. Once you defeat her, someone called Volcano, who is supposed to unlock the underworld, just in the way to keep fighting. But oh no, my friend, this is what we want. We want lore. So we normally complete the game and then defeat Titan. After which we can explore the lore of the underworld. The first demon of the underworld is Volcano. Then you keep fighting more and more until you reach Tenebrous. You defeat him and you enter the portal that is behind him. Now buckle up, my friends, because we are just getting started. This is where the lore of Shadow Fight 2 ends, but stay with us because it's not completely over. This game doesn't seem to have any story in the first glance, but all the story is actually in the trailer. Shadowmind, showing the picture of the collapsing gates of shadows, says, "The gates of shadows fell, but shadow energy crept into this world. That is how I found my new home. At first, I was weak. Some tried to fight me. I became stronger. Some tried to control me. I developed new form. Some tried to experiment on me. I deepened my knowledge about them. Finally, I have gained consciousness. Now my evolution is complete. Behold, the Shadow Mind, your new lord. Is there anybody who can match my powers? I don't think so, but I can give you a chance. Let the Shadow Tournament begin. Welcome to the arena." Here we can see that he said he is Shadow Mind and he got stronger. So somehow in this game the player, or just Shadow, must have locked Shadow Mind away in the sphere. The sphere is going to be talked about later in the Shadow Fight 3 section. But now this is a weird game. There is this question that went on in the Shadow Fight 3 community, like why did Shadow become evil? What is the detailed answer for that? And this game tries to fill that gap. But we are only 2 acts in the game, so therefore we gotta get to some theorizing stuff. So from the story so far, it seems like some shadow rifts were encountered by Sensei and he went missing. Later, Shadow, knowing this, saved Sensei and he find out about shades, which are basically one fight upgrades. This is an early version of the battle advantage we can now find in Shadow Fight 3 in events like Deep Color and Family Tree. Now that the official story is done, we can get to theorizing. From what we know of what happened after the events of Shades and what happened before, and all the characters featured in the game so far, I feel like the demons like Lynx, Hermit, etc. are trying to revive Titan so that they can get revenge on Shadow. Also, the portal that Shadow walked at the end of Shadow Fight 3 is the root cause of the Shadow Rifts, and Shades basically. These rifts are just more portals popping in and out. This is why the prologue fight against the cultists look so alien. That is why the background of the fights looks so underworld-like. The backgrounds in Shades are very reminiscent of the backgrounds in the underworld fights. Now, somewhere at the end of the game, May must have died in an alternate world, because of which Shadow must have gone mad and crazy. Now we get to the wackiest and most confusing part of the whole series lore. First we have Legion. We are a random guy, no memory of anything before. But what we do know is that we have joined the Shadow Squad of the Legionary Army. Your commander is Sergeant Ottoheim. After a bit of digging and rescuing a Dynastian woman named June, and also climbing the hierarchy of positions, you find out that your commander is secretly planning on using this spear to get an advantage over Dynasty. So for that, he sends June off route to the outskirts of the Dynastian territories, but he failed because we intervened. But now what the hell is this spear basically? So the spear is a glass spear, no shocker, where the most concentrated and purest form of shadow energy exists. A type of shadow energy with a mind of its own. That is, the Shadow Mind. Next we have chapter 2, which is Dynasty. Now you defeat him and escape Legion and then reach the dynastic territories, where there you found out that E2, an ally of June, accuses us of the vanishing of the sphere. We don't even know what sphere is at that point, but we are already being accused of making it vanished. We fight him off, and then we find out that the emperor of dynasty, the father of June, is also missing. Basically, he has been possessed by a shadow monster. Then we find out that he's at the dome. Then we fight Kibo and find out that a war has broken out between Legion and Dynasty. Damn. Next we have Heralds. Now that you are in the secretive heraldic territories and find out about Bolo, a scientist who wants to build another dome over the mainland of Dynasty to save them. But we defeat him, and we also find the living legend, the legendary General Marcus. He seems to be glitching through reality, and then we get to the dome where Shadow Temple is present. But the Shadow Temple is all cut up and floating in space with nothing in between but the bare cosmos in between that. That is the void, a byproduct of the descendant's birth. Oh yeah, by the way, we are the descendant. We are basically the descendant of Shadow. No one knows this, even us. And because Shadow opened the gates of shadows and the underworld portal, as a byproduct, the void was created, where we fought the shadow beast of the emperor and saved him. So now we are at chapter 4, consequences. Now there is this weird but super important event that happens. We get a choice between three people from the three factions to choose from and affect the sphere. Marcus of Legion, June of Dynasty, and E2 of Herald. If you choose one of them, you fight their super shadow version in that chapter. Now then you fight Ling as the third boss of this chapter, and then you're sent to find a solution to release Shadow Mind from these people and not make these people a host for a parasite that is Shadow Mind. That happened because the sphere was obviously opened. Next, we are at the chapter 5, the Shadow Island. The Shadow Island is a place where Shadow once lived, considered it as his shelter. Also, another reason for our journey there is Shadow Mind is still in the representative we chose in chapter 4. We then find a girl over there called Moira, who is another super strong shadow person. So we need to get her back to Legion. Now after that we meet the chief of the tribe. He says that only Shadow can help us, so we get back to Legion because Shadow Mind escaped to Legion. Now next up we are at the heart of Legion. You get there and chaos. Firstly, you're sent to prison because of your betrayal. There you find Xiang Zhu, who has mastered all three fighting styles. Then we fight Queen Iolanda, and then we fight Shadow Mind himself, who spills the bean that we are the son of Shadow and May. Then we get to the future with the help of Shadow Mind. That is because Shadow Mind is one of those people who is so powerful that he can transcend through space and time. Next up we are at Forget the Past. Forget the Past has two parts. So part 1 goes like this. Now we have become a time traveler. So we find out that Legion has finally come out of its medieval ages and has some technology like turrets and stuff. So apparently Gizmo traded his beauty for power? Bruh, when did he even have any beauty in the first place? Well, we spank him up and then we find out how to get to the man Shadow. Shadow has become evil. The reasoning for that is that it's complicated. So as we explained in the Shadow Fight 5 Shades Act, May dies, so Shadow becomes evil due to the guilt that has built into him. So yeah, along with this, we need to know some more background info to understand the next set of events. Otherwise, it will be like the light behind a black hole, going around and everywhere else except through your body into your. So now we are at section 2, which is basically the hidden story. What is the hidden story, you might ask? Well, my friends, there are multiple universes in this game, but we only need 3 of them. Okay, that's a lie. We actually need 6 of them, which are the first universe, where the story of Shadowfight 1 on Facebook, Shadowfight 2, and Shadowfight 4 Arena takes place in. Then we have the second universe, which is the copy of the first universe, where Shadowfight 4 Arena and Shadowfight 5 Shades takes place in. Then we have the plain universes, which can be considered as either 3 individual universes or just one. So we are going to consider them as 3 individual universes. So we have the 3 chapters stories that are going to happen in these 3 universes, which are June's plane, E2's plane, and Marcus' plane. Then we have the sixth and final universe, where the Shadowfight 3's last chapter, the Gates of Shadows, or the epilogue, takes place in. Now that we all know this, we can get to section 3, which is background info. This is info that is needed a little bit so that the so that the lore that we get into is not, confusing. So basically, Moira, the eternal girl we rescued from Shadow, was held hostage, but she didn't want any harm to come to Shadow. Therefore, at the end of the third round, this is the only and the first time when a boss battle is more than 3 rounds. It actually is 4 rounds. So at the end of third round, she knocks both the player and the Shadow out and released the Shadow Mind from the player, removing player's ability to move through time. Then Shadow Mind got, he got provoked and he started to go for Moira. There isn't any specific reason as to why it did that, but then to save her, Shadow came out of nowhere, and then Shadow Mind ultimately merged with its rightful heir, or maybe rightful host, which is Shadow himself. Now, this is where we fight the fourth round, where we fight Shadow's shadow form. It doesn't feel right to say, but Shadow's shadow form, which is notorious to be extremely hard. After we defeat him, Moira feels bad about the fight, so she pulls Shadow Mind out of Shadow and chucks him into the reactor that Shadow made to create new world. Now, because of all this, the whole universe was destroyed and there are only 2 people left. Guess who those 2 people are? Nope, it's not the player and Shadow Mind, rather it's Shadow Mind and the Stranger. Who is the Stranger? Well, as his name suggests, he is a stranger for now. He's a time traveler. He says that the descendant is dead, and Shadow Mind has to create 3 plane worlds so that the descendant is alive again, and Shadow Mind finally has the ability to be existing. Because apparently he is nothing without the presence of us, the player. Now we have to create 3 universes. What are those 3 universes? The universes where the goals of the representatives that we were given as option before the 4th chapter are completed, and we are going to be we are going to be in the shoes of those 3 people and seeing what would have happened if their goal was successful. Now you might be a bit confused. Basically, June's plane's main plot is that the sphere has been preserved and Legion and Dynasty is in an alliance. They are no longer in a state of war. We are going to see the aftermath of that as the Prince, as June. E2 is similar. We are the bot and sphere has been exploited. Marcus plane is also the same. We are the general and the sphere has been destroyed. So now we can get to the main story of June's plane. So basically all these chapters have 3 parts, but I'm only going to be explaining the 3 parts of Marcus plane and the epilogue, because those are the most heavily detailed ones that we have to explain with huge amounts of emphasis on details. So basically during the first fight you absolutely lose, and then you're introduced to stability, which is basically this version's stability to not make the world break apart. Why is stability here? Because basically in our original world, the world up until the chapter 7 is actually where we belong. Therefore, we are stable and world doesn't break apart. Here, we are not supposed to be here. We are technically, as this world's descendant, already in here, while we are taking the place of June, right? Also, in this world, Legion and Dynasty live in peace and in an alliance, not in a state of constant war. You fight like that, and you notice that each fight has a fight condition, rule like open wound, shadow adept, fragile descendant, etc. You fight like that, and then at one point you have gained enough significance. Also, this world's descendant opens this sphere because we are June in this world. We are not the descendant in this world. And then this chapter is done. Now we are at transformation part 2, E2's plane. So here you are a bot. No, not as in a noob, but literally a bot, robot. And your creator is Master Okada. You are the assistant of fake Bolo, real E2. I know it gets really confusing. Like the fake Bolo is the real E2, and the real Bolo is the one we fought in chapter 7, and we are fake E2. Like there's a bunch of stuff that we can't really understand, but here's how we're going to put it. Fake E2, real E2 who is the fake Bolo, and real Bolo who we fought. Right. You are such an anomaly in this world that you literally are in trial with the Void Room, who turns out to be the voice of May. Also, its speaker or judge is Kibo for some reason. And then at one point you find out the revelation that Stranger is the descendant. Oh yeah, my friend, we are his copy. This is actually hinted in one event, which we are going to be discussing in section 4. Events are canon. Now, the first hint of events being canon, specifically the Dangerous Show, where at one point Fangirl says that she found out that the circus, which is at the Dynastian capital, are a bunch of bandits and they want to rob the city and burn it to the ground. Guess what the background is in the fight against Ling in chapter 4? A burning city. The same one as the Dangerous Show one. Right. Now, this is a bit more theoretical, but Sanguine Forest one. Here's the main boss. The main boss is called Mother Death. She uses the Executioner set, the unique two-handed sword one. Who else uses it? The actual Executioner of Legion. Now, how is this linked? She is Mother Death. Oh, come on. She is Mother Death, the head of a cult. Maybe the Executioner left and escaped the cult and took the only gear he knows how to use, the Executioner set. Now this hinting turns out to be a confirmation in the side effects event. So basically the story of this event is that Stranger came in and asked us to kill a bunch of his clones. And what is the 43rd fight? The Spark of Shadow? We fight as Shadow, but kill the clones of Stranger who reveal himself to be the real descendant. And we are his copy. Why else would we have to fight his clones while he can do it himself? With a much stronger set, to be honest. And now we reach at the second last chapter of this entire series, which is of course chapter 10, Transformation Part 3, Marcus Lane. This is complex. I feel like the order of these transformation chapters is in the order of their complexity in story. Joe's plan is pretty simple. Do not touch this sphere and make an alliance with Legion to decrease war, conflict and violence. E2 shows loyalty, truth about being a bot, and the shocking revelation that we are not what we thought or told we are. And then this. Oh boy. So this one is detail. This is the only one of the 2 chapters where we have to go in detail. I'm also going to go in detail for the epilogue chapter though. So first we have part 1. Part 1 begins with the prologue where the general, still haunted by the Abdicator's rising, is awakened to the news of missing soldiers in Legion. They embark on a mission to find the missing soldiers and address the escalating situation. Part 1, Episode 1, the General, accompanied by Sarge, Gizmo, and Greta, sets out to locate the missing liquidators in the Shadow Marshes. They encounter Tarlan, a nomad prince, and assist him in dealing with the infected locals. After a battle with Jane, a transformed liquidator, they uncover the evidence of liquidator's corruption by shadow energy. Right. Now, part 1, episode 2 sees the party pursuing deserters who have aligned with the Northerners. They confront Ironclad and Fangirl, who have turned the sacred eternal rest into an arena. The general defeats them and learns of Sven's impending attack on Legion's fortress. Bro, we are only part 1, episode 2, and bro, this is going to be so long. Over part 1, episode 2, the general rushes. Actually, part 1, episode 3, the general rushes to defend the fortress from Sven's forces. Along the way, they encounter night warriors and thwart the prison break orchestrated by Reinhard, who is revealed to be Helga in disguise. The general ultimately confronts Sven in the throne room and emerges victorious, preventing further chaos. Now there is a twist. There is only one order. You get to choose where to go and what to do. So here's the alternate path. The party encounters various challenges, including confronting deserters, dealing with consequences of traitors within their ranks, and facing off against Northerners who have been infiltrating the stronghold. They also encounter the liquidators who have been corrupted by the shadow energy and transformed into the shadow beasts. The party battles their way through those obstacles, ultimately facing against Sven and the leader of the Northerners in the throne room. Despite the challenges and betrayals they face, the party manages to defeat Sven and uncover the truth behind the prison break. Sven's defeat marks the completion of the repentance, and he promises to fulfill the prophecy and restore the throne to the true queen. However, Sarge refuses to let Sven leave alive, and setting up a final confrontation between them. Right, if you all have noticed something, basically the alternate path is just jumbled up. It's basically like the set 1 and set 2 of a question paper where the questions have been jumbled up in different orders. Now we have part 2, episode 1. The party embarks on a mission to detain the deserters, encountering challenges and ambushes along the way. Scout provides vital information about traitors within their ranks and emergence of Sven and Lucky as the new Woodland Prince. Depending on the player's choice, they receive buffs through prayers with Greta or training with Gizmo. They confront the corrupted liquidators, battling through their camp and facing Siegfried, man, who has succumbed to the darkness. Now, part 2, episode 2 is basically that the party faces a choice between two paths: pursuing the king's daughter on the Forbidden Island or investigating the crypt, opting for the Forbidden Island. They join forces with June, an agent familiar with the local customs. June guides them as they navigate the island's dangers and seek the missing heiress, encountering ancient spirits and challenging trials along the way. Part 2, episode 3, the party continues their quest, delving deeper into the mysteries of light and darkness. They confront Ursus, the immortal, engaging in a climactic battle to end his reign. This guidance of Helga and the resolve of Queen Moira, they emerge victorious, and the threat of war between light and darkness looms on the horizon, signaling the beginning of the end. Now here's the alternate part. The party rescues June and learns of the priestess of the shadows on the secluded island. They confront island spirits and island's chief to access the priestess cave. The inside, they battle summoned golems before uncovering the priestess' fate and the location of the bridge between. Guided by Helga, they enter the bridge between and confront Shadowmind, who reveals secrets about light and darkness. Shadowmind warns Ursus, the immortal's impending arrival. The party faces off against Ursel to end his reign and restore balance. Moira emerges as a key figure, resisting Ursul's control. The party pledges loyalty to Moira, marking the dawn of a new era for the Legion. Despite the victory, ominous signs of impending war between light and darkness loom, and the end of world seems imminent as the war between light and darkness approaches. Right, now we have part 3. In part 3, the party embarks on a journey filled with revelations and confrontations as they navigate through the forest and face the consequences of the master's actions. They encounter mysterious heart of the forest which reveals distortions in time and intertwined with nature of light and darkness. Guided by the heart, they confront various threats, including Shadow's descendant and the Millennium Wolf, while also learning of the hero's temple and its imprisoned guardian. As they progress, the party faces challenges from both Master's forces and their own doubts and conflicts. They must make critical decisions that impact their battle and alliance, choosing between different strategies and allies to overcome their adversaries. Amidst the chaos, they uncover the truth about the Master's plan and the importance of protecting Queen Moira and the balance between light and darkness. Ultimately, the party's resolve is tested as they confront Master's influence and free Marcus from his time loops. Through unity and determination, they strive to protect their world and defeat the looming threat of the Master, setting up the stage for a climactic showdown and the resolution of their journey. Alternate path. General June and the party head towards the hero's temple after June reveals the importance of bringing back the hero who initially brought shadows into their world. June shares the tragic story of her father and the hero who inadvertently introduced shadow energy and got trapped in the hero's temple. They encounter legionaries sent by the immortals, but General defeats them and the shadow ghost observes them. General faces choices between June's secret or Sarge's plan, impacting their upcoming battle strategy. Inside the temple, they confront the contaminated version of the hero, whom they defeat, revealing to be the Shadow. Shadow warns about his son's plan to open the gates of shadows and requests their help to stop him. Moira, shocked by her father's return, learns about his dangerous intentions to aid the Master. The party battles through the immortal forces to protect Moira and the heart of the forest from the Master's influence. After defeating various adversaries, including the Patriarch of Drevers, they free the heart of the forest. The generals fight alongside Marcus, a general from another world, to break free from the time loop created by Shadowmind. Oh God! In Marcus Plane, each chapter only had 2 versions, but this one has 6 for one of the chapters. Come on! Well, we have come too far now to stop, didn't we? Let's do it. Part 1. In the prologue, the story unfolds in a world created by Shadowmind, where Shadow's descendant rules supreme, and a resistance, led by May, stands as the only opposition. May mourns over the stone depicting Shadow, while her son, Shadow's descendant, mocks her for it. He challenges her to join his troops, but she refuses. The descendant defeats May in combat, but he spares her life, despite her warnings about the gates. In part 1, May, aided by allies like Kitsune 1 and E2, confronts Lynx at the accelerator, where Nemo's is being held. May defeats Lynx and frees Nemos, but they are attacked by the Descendants forces. New resistance members, including Azuma, Zhangzhou, and Ironclad, join to fight and help repel against the attackers. E2 confronts the 12th, a suicide agent working for the Descendant, and manages to neutralize the shadow energy within her, earning her trust basically. They learn of a hero capable of defeating the Descendant, whose summoning requires collecting shards of memories from hero's friends across dimensions. The player is presented with choices to follow the storylines of 6 characters, each contributing to the overarching narrative of these resistance struggle against the Descendant. As the characters navigate their individual challenges and confront their pasts basically, they work towards a common goal of summoning the hero to overthrow the Descendants' tyranny. Part 2. Oh god, this is the 6 versions one. I'm exhausted. District Order 1, E2. Nemos informs E2 about the hero, whose memories are scattered across dimensions. E2 struggles to remember the hero but recalls dreaming about his past and interactions with Ling. Ling, whom E2 sought for help from, rebuffed him, leading to a fight between them. Despite defeating Ling, E2 regrets his actions and realizes his jealousy towards Hero. E2 and Nemo's journey towards the Temple of the Sphere, where E2 fights shadow counterpart of June, Marcus, and himself. Nemo discusses the nature of shadow energy with E2, highlighting its potential benefits and drawbacks. Jet interrupts their discussion, prompting E2 to engage in a training fight with her. E2 explains the significance of Shadow T to Nemos, further illustrating the complexity of shadow energy. Now, the District Order 2, June. Before that, E2 actually fights his real counterpart and collects the shard of the hero named Humility from his souls. Now, the District Order 2, June, and in which June expresses her determination to stop the Descendant who has enslaved her father and her people. Nemos shows June a device to collect her memories from different worlds and reminds her of her connection to the hero. June is amazed by the device and questions Nemos about his identity, but he deflects, calling her the true magician. June looks at the synchronizer and sees a happy but plundered version of the dynasty's capital in the Descendants' world. Deng Rao appears, surprising June, and a fight ensues between them, revealing his deceitful intentions. June recalls escaping from the Shadow Squad and visiting an island important to her, where she encounters Starlin, supposedly dead. June fights Starlin, feeling frustrated at being treated as a pawn and cherishing the hero's unique treatment of her. Nemos prompts June to remember her childhood friend/sister Kibo, with whom she shares fond memories and a competitive relationship. June reflects on her father's challenging behavior due to the sphere and fights him, ultimately defeating him and collecting a shard named Courage. June recalls how the hero treated her as an equal, giving her the courage to face challenges, and collects a shard of the hero's essence. Right. District Order 3, Marcus. Marcus expresses his willingness to do anything to bring back sanity to the mad generals of his homeland under the Descendants' rule. Nemos informs Marcus that his commander's souls belong to the Descendant, but the hero can defeat him, revealing they were comrades in other worlds. Marcus is skeptical but agrees Nemo's request to explore his memories for connections to the hero. Marcus recalls being trapped in a time loop and encountering Bolo, engaging in a fight with him, and eventually defeating him. Marcus dreams of encountering a monster resembling Lieutenant Siegfried, whose words haunt him to this day. He recounts his trial alongside a hero in his homeland, witnessing the encroachment of shadows and the disappearance of the hero. Marcus fights Queen Islander, who challenges his perception of her and sends him on a quest to the crypt to discover the truth. In the crypt, Marcus encounters the King of Legion, engages in battle, and emerges victorious, realizing the king's true nature. Nemo's prompts Marcus to reflect on the hero's impact, leading Marcus to acknowledge the hero's inclusive and altruistic nature. Marcus acknowledges that hero's teachings and contributions to defeating Shadow, and the shard of the hero is collected from his soul. Next up, District Order 4, Kitsune. Kitsune, deeply missing Proximus, pleads with Nemos to use the synchronizer to find a part of their matrix in her memories, despite knowing only the wardens can leave the sealed world. Nemos connects Kitsune to the synchronizer but respects her right to reject the process, acknowledging that he himself is a prisoner in this world. Kitsune recounts her past, including her first assignment from the creator and a fight with her sister Nanami, who attempted to alter her will. She reveals that Proxy was initially chosen as a joke but became a significant part of her life despite being manipulated by Nanami. Kitsune fights the creator, whose mind is manipulated by the descendant in an attempt to retrieve Proxy but fails. Nemos urges Kitsune to reveal the true nature of her relationship with Proxy, emphasizing her importance in bringing them back. Kitsune hesitates to express her feelings but eventually confides in Nemos, allowing him to collect the shard of the hero from her soul. Nemos assures Kitsune that he won't disclose her secret to Proximus, and a shard of the hero is collected from her soul. District Order 5, Ironclad. Ironclad expresses a willingness to support the hero in their quest to defeat the descendant, but finds the journey to the gates daunting due to the strange whispers from the shadows. Nemos introduces Ironclad to the synchronizer, offering him memories from other worlds, which Ironclad initially perceives as intrusive. Ironclad engages in a fight with Sarge in his memory, reminiscing about a past encounter where he taught Sarge a lesson after losing everything in a card game. Nemos interrupts Ironclad's storytelling, prompting him to focus on memories relevant to finding the hero. Ironclad recalls various encounters, including fights with Sven and Ursus the Immortal, mistakenly believing them to be the hero. Ironclad defeats Jailer Sarge in a memory, reflecting on past interactions with the hero and how they influenced his life. Nemos queries Ironclad about the shard of the hero in his soul, to which Ironclad responds with a sense of pride and respect for Hero's fighting spirit. A shard of Hero is collected from Ironclad's soul, symbolizing his connection to the hero with their shared experiences as champions. District Order 6, Jiangsu. Jiangsu expresses irritation at the constant mention of the hero's name and questions Nemo about their identity and their fight experiences. Nemo reveals to Jiangsu that the hero defeated him 3 times in one world, which surprises him. Remember those 3 times? The first time was in the school, the second time was in the tournament, and the third time was in the legionary jail when he mastered all 3 fighting skills. Jiangsu recalls memories from his past, including interactions with Kibo and Jun and his encounters with the hero. He reminisces about being defeated by the hero multiple times, leading to anger and a sense of loss of control. Jiangsu recounts his participation in the tournament of 100 schools and his losses to the hero. After facing various challenges, including fights with Ironclad and Millennium Wolf, Jiangsu receives the gift of fire, He reflects on the changes he underwent due to his encounters with the hero, expressing a desire to become even stronger. He confronts Gizmo once again and emerges victorious, further solidifying his determination to surpass the hero. Nemos asks Xiangzu about the Shroud of Hero, to which he responds with the name Xander, symbolizing his admiration for the hero and his determination to pass him. Xiangzu expresses his desire to face the hero once again and vows to become stronger and become a master of every fighting style in the world. Woo! We are done with part 2, baby! Woo! Okay, now we have part 3 and we can finally end the video. Gosh darn, it's been so long. In the culmination of the quest, the hero's allies rally together to defend Nemos and prepare for the final battle against Shadow's descendant. With the shards of the hero collected, Nemos begins the summoning ritual, facing opposition from Descendant's generals. May, along with hero's friends, bravely defend the ancient, risking their lives to buy Nemos the time he needs to complete the summoning. As the hero is summoned, they face the series of challenges, including battle against Nemos himself and the Descendants' forces. Despite the odds, the hero prevails, showcasing his strength and determination. Nemos reveals the grim fate awaiting the world and advises him to embrace the coming change, while urging them to prevent evil from prevailing. The hero, equipped with Shadow's armor walker, confronts the Descendant in an epic final battle at the gates. Despite Descendant's formidable powers, the hero emerges victorious with May's intervention, ultimately leading to a poignant moment of closure between mother and son. As the gates collapse and the world falls to the dust, Nemos bids the hero farewell, promising their journey as one of the ancients has just begun, with infinity waiting them. With the story of Shadow Fight 3 coming to close, the hero and their allies stand as beacons of hope in the face of darkness, ready to embark on adventures across worlds and times, ensuring that heroes will always rise to defend against the forces of evil. Phew. Well, there you have it, guys. We've journeyed through 14 years of intense battles, intricate storylines, and countless hours of gameplay. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've just fought my own epic boss battle. From the early days of the series to its latest installment, it's been a wild ride, and let me tell you, trying to condense it all into one video, god damn, it's been a challenge. But hey, it's been worth it, because at the end of the day, nothing beats the thrill of diving into the world of Shadow Fight and experiencing the fantastic feeling that we get from its combat. Well, if you'd enjoyed reliving the saga with us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more adventures coming your way, and I promise I'll rest before the next one. So until we meet next time, fellow warriors, stay strong, keep fighting, and remember to take breaks. Trust me, you'll need them. Also, if you all want to check out any more of my videos, then this is my evolution of gaming video, and this is my retrospective study on Shadow Fight 3. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna meet you guys in the next video. Until then, I'll be making a new video. Bye bye.